All right, it is 5:30. We are recording. If you'll give me just one moment to let things get set up in here, we're going to see if we can get underway. In the meantime, while we are waiting for people to come in and start getting involved in the conversation, I'm going to go ahead and throw out our mandatory disclaimer. My name is Cody Glynn. I am the Chief Operation Officer for NAVRAS Tech. This is being recorded, and nothing stated in this space is to be considered financial advice. Everybody should always do their own research. Luis, can you hear me, sir?
Hey everyone. Hey Cody. Hey Ray. Hey Kathy. Hey Luis. Thank you guys for joining us. I am limited on time today. I think, well, most of the team knows my kiddos have been really sick these last couple of days, but I was able to sneak out for the next 20, 25 minutes. So I'll be happy to share some updates here and there. So just in case you see me leave here in the next 20, 25 minutes, going back and forth with the wife on taking care of the kiddos right now.
Completely understood and very much appreciated, sir. Genuinely hope you guys get feeling much better very quickly. Given that you are limited on time, given that this is being recorded for anybody who comes in after the fact, do you just want to go ahead and let's launch right into it?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead and start us off, and then we can jump into it.
Okay, so first and foremost, as I said before some of you joined, this is not financial advice. Everybody should always do their own research. We've been trying to do these updates like once a week to give everybody kind of a heads up as to what's going on with NAVRAS Tech, what we're working on, what the situation currently is. And that being said, we have not had one of these now. This is the first one in 2 weeks. We have had some changes going on. First and foremost, with the CTO position. Luis, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, we had our former CTO who wanted to step down and felt right now was not the right time here. And him and I had a really good conversation, and I have nothing but appreciation for everything Tequila Pete did for Navras, and even before that, it really helped us have a different perspective on how things should be run internally. And I have nothing but admiration for him. And one thing that we did chat about was in the future, as things start picking up and when the time is right for him to serve as a consultant, if he's open to it, or rejoin the team. It's startups are very tricky. They bring people in, bring people out. But the core, I think, is going to remain here for a while. I think I checked in with the team right away afterwards. We all feel, all the contributions that he contributed to, but most of us have a really good standing relation with him, and we'll keep that. But organizationally, I think we're not going to quickly hire or reassign the CTO role. We're going to take our time, specifically to find the right candidate later down the road if we feel we must. There's a lot of internal structures that are currently taking place. I think I've been saying that for the last month. It's a lot of work to really build this the right way. And when that's time to reintroduce that role back, I'll reach out to folks and see if they're interested in it. And if not, then we will launch an actual job hunt or job opening for that position and what we tell. So, am I upset about anything? No, I think we're adults here and we understand what are the needs right now versus what the needs will be later, and the organization still has to keep pushing forward.
Absolutely. Okay, so having spoken about Tequila Pete, having spoken about the CTO position and the staffing changes that are happening, I guess the next most pertinent subject to step into would be the application that we're developing, where we're at with that, and what the current game plan is.
Yeah, so one thing that we positioned NAVRAS from the very beginning was that we will hope to jump into, other industries and not tie ourselves back to the medical space. However, we understand we do have still expertise within the medical space. You, Cody, as a first responder, really introduced a very new perspective that we were kind of exploring before in regards to what tools and equipment can we use to further first responders, ability to save lives in real time. And we've been brainstorming with the team around those ideas. We've been continuing to talk to the team about our medical applications and use cases, even as recently as the last couple of days, looking at specifically tools to help. And for some of these, for some folks, might not be popular, but this is where the opportunity is finding how can we come into, for example, the state of California that subsidizes a lot of health insurance for individuals from low income backgrounds. Obviously, for personal reasons, I grew up low income, and I took it. I had Medi-Cal through the state, and my mom, for all intents and purposes, and my dad, who are both permanently disabled, leverage Medi-Cal. However, they don't have all the tools I have as an insured person here in the state. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to innovate within that space with existing technology, introduce the technology of decentralized finance, blockchain technology. And I think that's the route we're still going to keep going and finding a way to bolster up folks in states that offer subsidized healthcare insurance and working with them to see, can we offer something similar to my chart that's owned by Epic? What are the tools that are needed there for us to come in and really support that structure? So California is obviously one of the biggest states in the country that offers subsidized healthcare coverage for its residents. And I've asked the team to do research on other states. I think New York is another state. I want to say Washington State, maybe. Oregon most likely is too, and states that don't, to try to get grants through there. There's a lot of money out there for us to tap into with technology that's needed right now, and really truly live into the being of bridge into the Web3 space. Right, we can build something that is usable right now with minimal unproven technology, and then slowly but surely build our credibility with those institutions and introduce something in the Web3 space. So if our organization took a hit, I wouldn't say necessarily took a hit. We're just doubling down on our opportunities, and Kathy has been really good, and you, Cody, as well, on really saying we can still do this. We're just going to, there's certain elements of that IP that obviously belong to Tequila Pete, and we're going to let him have that. And there's other intellectual property that we have had for ourselves that we're going to now leverage and see if this thing works.
Absolutely. So, having spoken about probably the most pertinent logistical issues, that being the CTO position, that being the application that is currently in development, the next one that I would probably put right up there as kind of top priority is obviously the token itself. Now, if you take a look at the chart looks fairly stagnant. There's not a lot of trading volume there. And it has been pointed out to us, we've been aware of this. If you look on DEX Tools has now put us at a DEX score of 1. And it is flagging as a potential honeypot. Now, you and I have spoken to that quite a bit. Is there anything you want to say before I kind of get started into the nuts and bolts of that?
Yeah, no, thanks, Cody, for giving me the space there. And this is my personal observations, honestly. The space we're witnessing here in crypto, and specifically to the Twitter space, I think something like NAVRAS or something with real potential is not sexy. I hate using that word. It's not. I see the folks that are in here. These are the folks that have been with us from the beginning and truly understand what we're trying to build. We're not going to go out there and hype this thing up like it's a meme coin. It just doesn't resonate well with folks outside of the Twitter space. And I will keep harking on that, because if we continue down the pathway of saying like, okay, we're gonna get out there and shield NAVRAS, 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 real businesses don't do that, right? Real businesses speak through their actions, through their work. And for some, it might rub them the wrong way that, yes, we are in crypto and yes, we should be doing certain elements. However, look at how quickly an entire community gets toxic and starts that type of noise that we quite frankly don't need. Um, the Dex tools stuff is unfortunate, right? I looked at it. It went from one day I think it was at 48 and then to one, and we're trying to get in contact with someone at Dex tools and be like, yo, what's happening there? Cody, you've done some really good research that you'll talk to the community here about. And even the honeypot situation, we've had some volume this week, but obviously it's not as we'd like. But none of us in the organization have said, okay, let's close up shop and move on. If anything, we've said, okay, we're just going to continue to build here. Most of us, obviously, people are going to start saying, well, how are you funding this? Well, right now, a lot of us aren't taking salary, similar to where we were before. However, I firmly believe that NAVRAS does have a very significant opportunity here to bring in the funding that we need to run our operations to complement crypto, our crypto space. And I'm not, I see the honeypot stuff. We've had volume. Anyone can ask us about our contracts. I know you're going to speak specifically to what are the modifications that are probably flagging that. Um, but at the end of the day, there's no way that we're just going to up and go or treating this like a piggy bank. Not with us currently filing our paperwork for our LLC, going through the notion of getting our EIN through the federal government and the IRS. This might be an unpopular belief here, but hey, we're gonna do taxes next year. Honestly, we've been in operation for about 2-3 months. If we had a bunch of volume right now, I'd be a little concerned because we'd be like, dang, we're gonna have to pay a bunch of capital gains tax or any form of tax here in the next year. But right now, it's a blessing in disguise that we get the opportunity to build. We get the opportunity to really get our footing straight, and our IRS tax bill for 2023 is not going to be what our IRS tax bill is going to be in 2024. So we kind of go with the flow. We just continue to build and continue to execute. But it's time for you to share those insights that you and I have been talking about with Dex tools and those type of things for people to understand how those false positives kind of hurt communities versus benefit us.
Absolutely. So Dex Tools right now, if you go to dextools.io and you put in our contract address from our website and go to, specifically the page that is designated for NAVRAS Tech and our token, you're going to scroll down on the left-hand side and you're going to see a Dex score that says 1 of 99. Now, this Dex score, this is not maintained by any individual. This is an automatically generated score. You can tell that because if you hover over where it says information, 86 points, transactions, 99 points, holders, 69 points, all these different little things that factor into the score, they alternate up and down, up and down. Directly under that, you're going to see audit, you're going to see verify external audits, and you're going to see, a list of green checks or yellow or red where it says contract verified, honeypot, buy tax, sell tax. Now, ideally, green is a happy color, right? Everybody wants everything to come across, completely green on that score chart. They want all of these different things that are attributing to your Dex score to be at, 99 top score, but this is not maintained by an individual or even a team of individuals. This is all automatically generated. Case in point, we have a 21 point. Let's see, what is that? The liquidity pool is at 21 points. So whenever you have a token or a project that has a large amount of sell-offs and the liquidity pool reaches below a certain threshold, and I can't
tell you for certain because I'm not on the team, but I believe that that is a dollar amount threshold rather than a percentage amount threshold. It's going to start lowering that score and going, okay, well, obviously the liquidity pool is not at the value that we consider happy green liquidity pool scoring. Now, all these different little things factor in, and in this case, the one that has dropped us all the way down to is 1 on this 99 scale score is the honeypot. Honeypots, for those of you who are new to crypto or unfamiliar with the term, this is what happens whenever you have a token or a project that, everybody's excited about, everybody buys into it, and then suddenly you go to sell, you go to take profits, and you just can't. Well, you try, you try, you try, you can't. Your money's gone. And there's a lot of scam projects out there that they do this. They either disable trading or they take from the liquidity pool. And whenever you go to pool, it says, insufficient funds for this trade. In this case, number one, we have such low volume at the moment, trading in and out, that the audit scans that Dex Tools pulls from, which there's 4 of them, Quick Intel, Token Sniffer, Go Plus, and Happy. Happy is spelled HAPI. 2 of the 4 of those are registering that we might be a honeypot because the volume's so low, they're not picking up a whole lot of cells. Whenever they take that information and they combine it with the fact that because we put our smart contract in for everybody to go through, they have detected code in our smart contract that we could disable trading. Well, if you go into Etherscan and punch it in, if you know what you're doing, you can tell. Trading is enabled. We have not disabled trading. There have been sales consistently, almost daily. So it's not a honeypot. However, we are being flagged by this, and these are automated scans that once it comes through and once it throws a false positive, it absolutely brings you down to a score where everybody looks at it and goes, man, I wouldn't buy that with your money. Now, another personal beef of mine, this is kind of a headache where this automated false positive crap is concerned, is so we have a 3% buy tax and a 3% sell tax. This is the money that is, we have it outlined on our website. This is money that is allocated to development and operations. This is part of our utility revenue plan. Well, if, let's say, you wanted to buy in or sell or sell for profit, and you set your slippage too high, it's going to automatically register that your slippage was too high. And after that happens once or twice, then all of a sudden it's going to start saying that we've got a, 4 or 5, 6% buy or sell tax whenever that's not true. The tax hasn't changed. It's just registering that that's how much this individual lost in trade. So, needless to say, long story short, a lot of complicated terms here. I promise you, everybody's been able to sell. We've been doing test buys and test sells ourselves to constantly check the system and make sure everything's operating. Nothing has changed with the smart contract. The only thing that's going to start rectifying this, because we've tried to get in contact with teams and they're just not responding to us or not responding to us as quickly as we would like for them to. Trading volume. Trading volume is going to fix this, and trading volume will come. Now, since I've spoken quite a bit and since my mouth is incredibly dry, Luis, would you like to convey some of the thoughts that we've had in regards to trading volume and what we kind of want to do and what we are willing to put money towards doing at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just went on like Token Sniffer, and we have a 75 out of 100. And Dex Tools is just irritating me the more I look at it. Even if you look at, like you just mentioned, the project reliability score. We got 86% or 86 points for information, 99 points for transactions. Holders 69 points because it's not as high. Creation 91 points. It's just obviously this is the brand, right? This is Dex Tools is where everyone goes to, but part of DYOR is going to the other platforms and looking at it. So we'll work on Dex Tools. Volume is important for Dex Tools to report positive traction on any token. That's what's the name of the game. If you look at all the trending tokens from Dex Tools, it is volume. Now, there is ways to get creative with volumes, and the topic that we've been going back and forth on, and we still haven't decided yet, is to introduce a market maker into the Dex Tools app or for our Dex trading platform Uniswap. We often use market makers in exchanges. This happens to control volume, prevent arbitraging, but they don't come cheap. And I think for when we were in our producer organization for one specific exchange, it was about $600 a month. Uh, and if you want more than one exchange, you obviously add another 600 there. But that is one possible solution that can help with this, and that would be the market maker buying and selling NAVRAS. The goal would be to obviously break even there, but this is going to take a little bit more research over the next couple of weeks for us to find the right market maker. I'm about 60% on it. The devs are doing more research on seeing if that's a possible route. There's also the route of exchanges, right? And helping drive that volume up there. Where we've been hesitant with exchanges, it's the fact that we're also recognizing our low holder count. Will an exchange necessarily drive holders up? It depends, really. The ROI isn't as great as it used to be on exchanges, I would say. Where we've seen it on projects recently that have launched on 4 or 5 exchanges, and it doesn't really move the token. It's more about expanding the opportunity to buy. But once you buy on a centralized exchange and you don't have a market maker to then help the arbitraging on your decentralized exchange, there's a huge opportunity for current decentralized exchange holders to lose out on any good positivity or traction. So we're exploring what TJ has done or been looking into with Cody is what we call initial exchange offerings. There's a few platforms out there that will, list your coin, and it's almost similar to a pink sale. Will help raise funds for it, um, and offer this exclusive type of marketing and promotion on their exchange to then list the token, and in hopes of building the community up a little bit more. That's where I think the team is really focused on is how do we attract more individuals here? So those are a few, and the market maker is obviously one that could really help this. But for some people that might be like, oh well, you can't be buying and selling your own token. You know, it's an unfortunate part of the crypto space. But Cody, you've had some experience with market makers, and you might be able to share a little bit more of how we can control that and ensuring that we have holders' interest in mind.
Well, as far as market makers go, there's definitely two very distinct, very separate mindsets of them. Some of them turn around and see the need and the necessity for a market maker, especially, like you said, if there's multiple exchanges. And again, for those of you that are relatively new to crypto, if you have your token launched on Uniswap, there is a liquidity pool of, in our case, Ethereum and NAVRAS token sitting in Uniswap for individuals to buy and sell. That provides liquidity for the trades. If you go and then, let's say, I'm just throwing an example out there, list on MEXC as well. Well, this is a centralized exchange, and they need their own liquidity pool as well. So we have to provide Ethereum and NAVRAS token to them. So now you have 2 different liquidity pools. And if one trades, let's say on MEXC, higher than it's trading on DEX tools, what you then have is an arbitrage opportunity where individuals will buy in on DEX tools, send it to their MEXC or other centralized exchange wallet, and then sell it at a higher price. And then whenever we look up, guess what? We're running out of liquidity on both. One is buying in, one is selling off, and the liquidity pool that we have provided, well, we've got to continue adding to that. We got to continue building it up. And the problem with that is if you're making the return on investment as a token necessary to be able to sustain that and keep going, that's great. That's the name of the game. If it is not sustainable to do that, then you're just adding and adding and adding liquidity to this where people will continue to do that unless you employ a market maker service. Market makers go into every liquidity pool everywhere that your token is being traded, and they artificially themselves buy and sell your token, attempting to level off the price points between each of the liquidity pools. What that does is that reduces and removes arbitrage opportunities. It also generates volume on the charts. It keeps the charts moving. Now, I say all that to say this. Yes, there is a legitimate need for a market maker. Reduces arbitrage opportunities, keeps people from, getting tanked on. But there are entities out there that believe, hey, you're artificially inflating your numbers. Okay, that's something to take into consideration. There is a morality and ethic question there that needs to be handled. Another aspect that we have to take into consideration is legality. There are individuals and entities in the United States that have gotten into trouble for doing this because it is being argued legally that they were artificially inflating their numbers. So, with mass adoption currently being where it's at, where SEC regulation is currently at, while we could turn around and drop money on a market maker service right this moment to move this chart, it would fix DEX tools. It would do all this. Guys, it's your money. It's your money. You're investing it with us. We want to make sure that we have done as much research as humanly possible before we just turn around and spend it on something that, hey, 6 months down the road, the SEC is going to pop up and say, hey, you can't do that. So this is why we have compliance officers. This is why we do the research that we do. We're going to implement plans, and we have already started implementing plans to continue to move this chart. In the meantime, we are doubling down on everything that Luis has said. Luis, sir, I'm going to hand it back to you, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think transparency is really having that conversation now with individuals like the ones that are on this call on the type of, decisions we are faced with as an organization and how there's some real thought put into it versus, oh, we're just going to do it and face the consequences later. No, it's if you want to do things the right way, sometimes you got to make those tough calls. But if any of those, if for all you guys to know too, any of those small exchanges that you're seeing here, they use volume bots, they use their own market makers, and that's something that we learned, throughout our time in the crypto space. And sometimes you got to intervene, and even in those exchanges, and be like, hold on, you're selling too much of our token, because it happens. It happens so much more often than you think. But you understand now. You kind of get the picture now of how are these small exchanges collect all these fees, and then you go look at their chart, and it's like moving and grooving. In reality, they have volume bots. They're doing the chart. The chart looks great, but they're the ones that are doing it. Um, and that keeps customers coming, and that's how they operate their business. And there's a reason why they're all offshore. So they're not in the U.S. So this is a real decision here we're going to make over the next couple of weeks. If I have the opportunity to do some infrastructure reshifting, to make that happen. We will talk with members of the community, and I kind of got to run here in a little bit, but last update I have is I will be continue to reach out to folks in building this advisory council that is still fully on the horizon. That will serve as a sounding board for the executive team, and will have full insight into how the organization runs. They will obviously need to sign non-disclosure agreements to ensure that their perspectives are held within themselves. And the last comment there, I've heard a lot about. I've heard recently people are saying, well, no, this group of people are going to have insider information. Well, within the non-disclosure agreement with the advisory council, there will be really hard clauses there that they can no longer buy the token. And that will be specific to protecting them and protecting the organization for insider trading opportunities here. So that's just a little snippet of how I'm going to really build an ironclad / non-disclosure agreement with our advisory board. But these individuals will I think, totally understand why that's being done, and they will have insight into the growth of this company. So I wish I can stick around and take questions and engage more. We will set up another space next week where I'll have more time. But if you do have any pressing questions, shoot them my way on Telegram, and I will or via text or phone call for those that have access to me, and I will get to you guys as soon as I can. But I really have to take off and be with my kiddos right now. I think our little one has COVID, given how everyone else has had COVID. So I really appreciate the time, Cody. Thank you so much for setting the space up. But if you want to go ahead and continue, please do so. If not, we're more than happy to continue next week.
I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you, Luis, for joining us, and I genuinely hope the kids get feeling very better very quick. I know that it's very scary. So Luis is wrapping this up. I know that we don't have a ton of listeners in here, and that's perfectly fine. There's no issue whatsoever with that. What we did want to do is we did want to get out here. We did want to address some of the burning questions that have been handed to us over the week. I'm probably not going to open it up for questions here. However, if you want to come into our Telegram, if you want to ask questions there, we're more than happy to answer you. If we're not right there to answer you, we have moderators, we have community leads that will help. Tag us. We're more than happy to step in and do that as well. That being said, we are continuing to attempt to grow our marketing efforts. We are attempting to put things together. We do see what goes out there and what goes through the social media spaces. We have not gone anywhere. We are absolutely here. And that's kind of where we're sitting. So thank y'all very much. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. You have no idea how much we love and appreciate all the support that you give us. We will continue building. That is absolutely a promise. And we are not going anywhere. Thank y'all. Have a great weekend.